Educational Communications and this station present Environmental Directions with Nancy Perlman. On this series, we explore the effects of human influence on the Earth's ecosystems and discuss solutions to environmental problems which affect the quality of life on this planet. Environmental Directions gives you the kind of information you need to help you participate in decisions impacting your community, the nation, and the world. Now, here's your host, Nancy Perlman.
Hello. For the next half hour, we're going to be talking about the beautiful ecosystems and eco-adventures in the Central American country of Guatemala. My guest is Jose Antonio Gonzalez. He is an archaeologist and a guide and cultural interpreter for Bella Guatemala Travel. Welcome to the United States.
Hola, Nancy. Thank you very much for inviting.
If I came down to your country, you would show me some incredible Mayan ruins, biosphere, quality, natural systems, forests, mountains. But let's place Guatemala. You call it Mesoamerica. What are the 5 countries there?
Guatemala is located within the Mesoamerican region, which is the Central American portion between North America and South America, composed by Mexico. We have Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. And those countries share a fantastic array of cultures and ancient civilizations, plus what you mentioned, incredible nature that still prevails there.
And you also have wonderful cultures of people who still wear gorgeous traditional woven outfits and have wonderful festivals that the tourist and traveler can enjoy.
That is so true. I mean, I like that you've been doing great research. We have 19 Mayan groups. I mean, that's a cultural diversity that few places in this planet have. You know, only Africa or Southeast Asia are as complex in cultural matters. And when we said 19, it's 19 different languages, 19 different ways of getting dressed, building their homes in the rainforest or in the mountain regions, preparing their dishes in the traditional ways. So it's complex but beautiful too. It's an amazing array of culture.
There are 3 World Heritage sites encompassing over 3,000 buildings, stelas, and other archaeological places, buildings that represent the Mayan culture.
We have 3,000 archaeological sites that have been registered by our National Atlas program of archaeology there. But yes, we have probably much more, and some have been discovered in the last 10 years. We have discovered like 5 different cities lost in the middle of nowhere in the jungle to the north of Guatemala. So that makes it very interesting, right?
Explain the Mayan culture, because it goes back thousands of years.
Yes, the Mayas, actually, that's an excellent question. The Mayas, what we see in Guatemala nowadays, well, they were also as cultures in the same time as the Lowland Maya, which are the ones who vanished, okay? The Lowland Maya lived in the low regions of the north of the country, which are where the jungles are. That civilization was not an empire. It was composed by several Mayan kingdoms functioning as independent city-states. And that's what we're still unveiling, because we are learning so much nowadays. In the last 25 years, we've opened new pages on the understanding of this history.
I see pictures of pyramids. They don't look like what we think of as the Egyptian pyramid.
Yeah, correct. They are high as sky racers. You know, some of them go as high as the forest canopy or just surpass the forest canopy. So for people to picture that, okay? One of the largest pyramids in the world, which in volume is the largest pyramid in the world, Danta pyramid in El Mirador towards the north of Tikal, has recently been discovered also. Idaho State University is digging there, and we have like 33 projects, you know. So pyramids all over. It's the land of pyramids, you know, in the jungle.
These pyramids have very long, wide staircases. They're flat at the top. They don't have that triangle.
Yes, exactly. Some of them are flat because they were for astronomical observations. Some of them have templates where rituals were performed on top of them, okay? Some of them are funerary commemorative temples, the tombs of the kings of the ancient times. We have recovered some of the graves, and from the information of those ancient graves, we have brought back ancient dynasties.
Yet, when we see the pyramids now, there's a force surrounding these various pyramids and other buildings.
Yeah.
But at one time, they were massive cities without the forest. The forest had been cleared.
Yes, the forest was clear, but Mayas were doing what we call nowadays sustainable ways or sustainability. The Mayas had areas that they never touched, that they used as resources for recovering forests by genetics, you know. So the Mayas knew how to do it. They collapsed environmentally in the very early periods, and they learned that. So in the 7th, 8th, 9th century, they perfected the ways. So we are reviewing that part, but you're right, all of those were large cities. Cities like Tikal probably surpassed the 150,000 inhabitants.
Many miles, so it takes a few days to really see this area.
Yes, in Tikal, I will invite you to go with me, and by 3 days, only in the jungle of Tikal, every single day, I can assure you, we will discover palaces, pyramids, ancient markets, causeways, astronomical complexes. It's a fantastic place to visit.
When one is visiting, you stay at beautiful boutique hotels in wonderful environments. Are these places green, ecological, sustainable?
Yes, so what we promote is if we're going to have a relation not in archaeological part, but the cultural tourism part, is for them to be very precise in the ways they interact with the rainforest. So preservation and those matters related to the conservation of the environments is taken as number one. All of them are highly responsible on the ways they manage their operation.
The areas that protect some of the beautiful flora and fauna, particularly the animals that are still there, are they in a different locale than where the pyramids are located? When we see the pumas or the jaguars or the monkeys?
Yeah, that's incredible because they are within. I mean, you can be spotting with us, for example, a sunset from the top of a pyramid, and some you will be surrounded by the chants of, the parrots, and seeing some toucans jumping and a falcon coming back after a hunting adventure in the jungle. Sometimes people have reported to see the jaguar in the very early time of the night or some early morning. So we have myriads of animals in the jungle, you know.
So there are lots of birds to see, but some of the animals are nocturnal, and you will actually take people on a safe walk through the jungle at night?
Yes, we have extremely good naturalists that know that jungle like day and night. We have great naturalists working with us. So, for example, in the day you'll be with me exploring archaeological areas and complexes, learning about the Maya and their ancient arts and sciences. And by night, we'll take you on a journey in the rainforest to observe the different fauna. The major fauna, like jaguars, come out by night. Okay, so the jungle never sleeps. It's full of creatures and it's fantastic. We have crocodiles, we have 2 types of deer, we have 675 species of birds locally, plus all the migratory that get there too, so it expands the number to thousands. We have butterflies, fantastic morpho butterflies the size of my hand, blue, iridescent, great creatures, just going all over. Hummingbirds, we have 17 species of hummingbirds. So, I mean, you can go and have a blast if you are a nature lover there.
There are lots of trails to hike, or if people can't walk that far, they can take horseback rides.
Yeah, we designed the trips based on specific groups and activities. The national parks and the World Heritage Sites have paths and trails well established, you know. But of course, if there's adventures we'd like to get a little bit more, we can go into where there's no contact with the human beings for 3 days, you know. Or if you require some special attention, also we have 4-wheel drives that will take you in and out some specific sites. So there's adventure for everybody there.
That's what I like about Bella Guatemala Travel. It's a company that tries to specialize in tours regarding the interests of those who want to have an adventure in this part of the world. And we should mention that, unfortunately, your country had a civil war for over 36 years, and it wasn't the safest place to go, but it's over, and now it's a very safe, secure place to go.
Now the country is perfectly safe. 36 years of war is only in the historical memory of the country. Guatemalans will look forward for the future, and the future is happening now. So we're ready to receive the people. We see them as friends, as fellow humans, you know, and we are willing to show them all the great things and the grandeur of one of the most magnificent countries in the Americas.
I'm an ethnic folk dancer. I love to participate in festivals and see the dancing. So you have a lot of festivals, from the Day of the Dead to the Easter parades, one of the largest in the country. About 1 million people get to the main city.
Yes, 1 million people attend the festival of Holy Week. But you mentioned dances. Remember, we already spoke about 19 Mayan groups, and all of them have particular traditional dances and festivals. So from All Saints Day to the Day of the Dead, which is combined, to the dances of devils in the Ciudad Vieja region, to very remote areas of the Ixil Indians towards the north of the highlands. I mean, it's a blast, visually, culturally, naturally.
I saw some pictures of gigantic kites, but they weren't really kites that we flew as children. They are massive balloon-like
Exactly. Yeah.
items that are up there that take many people to hold them down.
You're right. I mean, people call them kites, but actually what they are in the spiritual ways of the Maya is vehicles that transport from heavens the spirit of the departed ones to visit their beloved ones down on earth. So they are vehicles of communication of the souls. So Guatemala is so well preserved that things like that can be seen there, and people brings food and music and the favorite things of those departed ones in that particular day in the mountain towns where they fly these gigantic kites.
And tourists are welcome.
Tourists are welcome. It's very safe, and BGT takes very good care of how to go in, how to go out. We use state-of-the-art vehicles, helicopters, private planes, charters, to move our groups, which are particularly small, from 8 to 14. We like to keep it small in order to be able to attend the impromptu, like a Mayan wedding in the middle of nowhere, or a festival, or this or that situation, or the baptism of a little indigenous baby in the shrines with shamans on top of the mountain. So we deliver, and it's great adventures that you can participate on.
And we're going to talk more about these adventures in Guatemala with my guest, Jose Antonio Gonzalez, with Bella Guatemala Travel, when we return in a moment.
Environmental Directions with Nancy Perlman continues with further discussion of the world's critical ecological issues. For more information, you may call 310-559-9160 or go to www.ecoprojects.org. Now, here's Nancy.
I'm speaking with Jose Antonio Gonzalez. He is a guide and cultural interpreter with Bella Guatemala Travel and is also an archaeologist. It's difficult to separate the ancient archaeological ruins and the natural ecosystem in Guatemala. When I see the pictures, I'm seeing forests and I'm seeing human ancient civilization. It's really mixed, isn't it?
It is. That's the curious thing, because you will find actually cities that were built in the 5th or 8th century AD, for example, with top rising temples above the first canopy, but also you will be surrounded or involved or embraced by dense jungles. Some of the best preserved jungles in Central and South America are to the north of Guatemala. So that makes it a particular atmosphere. You will feel like Indiana Jones in a way.
Even though the Mayan civilization, the massive cities and city-states disappeared, the Mayan people didn't. They still exist.
Yes.
And they still have their spiritual and cultural traditions.
Yes, the Maya prevailed. The Maya have survived. The Maya will stay. The Maya are one of the most magnificent civilizations and cultures on earth. They are little known because we've been researching them for less than 100 years and only understanding them in the last 25. Like the way we needed. Before we created myths about them. Now we can, from the glyphs they left in their monuments, we read the do's and deeds of their past. And also the living Maya nowadays are very open to us in these days in order to access to their culture, and they give us a lot of information still. It's fantastic.
In addition to the jungles, the tropical rainforest, basically, because you are there where it's warm pretty much all year round, you have rivers, you have mountains, and you still have active volcanoes. Is it safe?
It is totally safe, but yeah, we do. We have 37 volcanoes. Can you mind that in a tiny country like Guatemala? And from those 37, we have 5 active, 3 very active, and actually we can take you up trekking in one of the most active volcanoes in the world. Its name is Pacaya. It is one of the greatest adventures of Guatemala. You can go there with us, like hiking or horseback riding.
You're also on the beach?
We can go down to the Pacific side of Guatemala, where we have some of the best deep sea fishing in the world. I mean, it's amazing there. Also great surf and archaeology. And if you like, we can take you also in 5 hours from that point to the other, to the Atlantic coast, where we have some of the most incredible rainforest. I mean, just jungle kissing gently the Caribbean waters in the Atlantic coast. So it's fantastic. You have to come with us.
So what is the food like? Because I heard that corn developed in this area?
Yeah, the corn is the base of the Mayan diet. We have studied corn for a long, and we have found that corn doesn't exist in nature. Corn is a hybrid created by the ancient Maya. We are not sure about that yet in an exact day, but we calculate it happened about 18 centuries before Christ, more or less, or we think a little bit more. So we have to go back still. But yes, evidence suggests that it was created in the North Highlands of Guatemala.
So what are some of the native foods?
The foods, actually, from corn, we have a variation of tamales, tortillas, but Mayas have excellent diets. We live in a very fertile ground, so most of the vegetables that you can imagine, we found. Some of the fruits, all of them, we have them. So from fish to exotic fruit, to corn tortillas, to beans, an exotic array of chiles. We have all the varieties, more than 150 species of chiles we have. So come, try them. It's exotic and it's delicious.
The country has a lot to offer, and the pictures I see are beautiful. The people look friendly. The colors of the woven blouses and dresses, particularly of the women, is spectacular. They're using native plants for the dyes?
Excellent question. I like your questions a lot. Yes, before the Mayas have developed the Maya textile tradition since maybe 3,000 years ago. Still, women are doing that. Some groups are bringing back the original colors made of roots, flowers, plants, tree, barks. So yeah, most of what you see is high quality clothing, museum quality pieces you can find in the indigenous markets. And they still use them and wear them, proud.
It's important to protect those native plants. It's also important to protect the native animals. And because you have, 15 different kinds of ecosystems?
Yes, we have 15 life zones. So within those life zones, we find some different ecosystems. So it's very rich, from coastal plains to high altitude cloud forest, passing through fragmented valleys that are within fault areas, so it's like a semi-desert, similar to the one that you find in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, to some of the densest jungles in the Americas.
So let's talk about the size of this country in comparison to one of the United States.
Yes.
And let's talk about how many people and how many national parks you have protected and created, and how many areas are being protected.
Yeah, okay. Guatemala, the size of Guatemala is 108,000 square kilometers. Okay, so it's big, if you can help me translate that number, but it's the largest in Central America. Compared to North America, it's small, right? Yes, I think it's one of the most diverse countries based on its geographical location. It's privileged.
How many national parks are there?
In every single region, we have more than 50 national parks. And probably from all the region, I would say like 25-30% is protected areas.
But people are next door to these parks. They need the resources. So what kind of environmental safeguards has the country established to be sure that the parks are maintained? We know that animals are threatened, and jungles that aren't in parks are threatened due to logging, poaching, all sorts of impacts that humans cause.
Yeah. We do have reinforced all the laws. We have laws against doing all those illegal activities, or they are considered illegal now, like logging, poaching, hunting. People, it's more environmentally aware. Young generations are totally into what we call the green culture, towards protection. They feel proud about our natural legacy. So the change will come, okay? Those little problems we have now will be solved. We will change some of our ways of monocrops in many areas, like sugar cane. We have transformed our coffee farms into organic coffee farms. By the way, I would like to say you that coffee in Guatemala ranks as number 3 in world's quality, okay? So we have some of the best coffee in the world. And also some of the best rum in the world too.
The food, you have the oceans that provide the food from the sea, you have the mountains, the plants. Are these reflected in the cuisine?
It is reflected in the cuisine. It's so varied because we have from, lobster and every type of fish, passing through all the type of vegetables. We have one of the wonders of the world nowadays, chocolate. Okay, chocolate, it's also another product that the Maya gave as a legacy to the world. Actually, the original word is cacao. We even have discovered the Mayan glyph. And when we translated that, it reads like that, cacawa.
The hieroglyphic.
The hieroglyphic of ancient. We have found monuments of ancient Maya in the 8th century where the kings are being served with chocolate. So it was a king's drink, and then Europeans found about it. But it comes from Guatemala.
So if I take a nature walk in one of these parks, I'm pretty sure to see lots of beautiful butterflies, birds, insects, reptiles.
Orchids. We have orchids by the ton. We have more than 850 species of orchids, which are some of the most wonderful plants in the planet. We have them all.
They're stunning orchids.
We have stunning orchids, Only Colombia surpasses Guatemala in the amount of orchid species. And some of them, are pollinized by fantastic creatures, by night, some bats, by day, some hummingbirds, some specialized insects, and everything comes in big colors. That's why, for example, is reflected in the cultural patterns of the Maya textile tradition. The weavings reflect that exotic nature we have.
The old world has the great apes, but the new world has a lot of lesser apes, the monkeys.
We do have 2 species of monkeys, the Howler Monkey, which is a fantastic creature, and the Spider Monkey. It howls like, you believe it's Godzilla in the forest, but it's the Howler Monkey. Actually, the males are the ones calling the rest of the pack. And that can be discovered or felt during the trips in early morning exploring Mayan ruins in the jungle. That will be your welcome committee.
So what's a spider monkey look like?
A spider monkey, the thing is that spider monkeys really jump, and they have this long prehensile tail that they use also to hold themselves from forest. They are black and white. Beautiful creatures, not that large, but very funny, and they are all over too.
I'm a cat lover, but you say I have to go out in the night to pretty much see those
the big
jaguars, ocelots.
Yeah, we have. If you love cats, Guatemala is for you. We have jaguars, the largest predator in the rainforest. It was sacred for the ancient Maya. It was a symbol of kingship too. So we have jaguar. Puma, or mountain lion, as you call it here in the States. We have ocelot, jaguarundi, and margai, which is a miniature cat that lives in the forest, in the upper parts of the forest.
And I believe that there's also different kinds of large rodents and mammals.
We have mammals. We have huge mammals like tapirs, We have 2 types of deer, white-tailed deer and brocket deer. We have peccaries. We have crocodiles. Well, you name it. We have them all there, It's incredibly diverse.
When one takes a tour with you, you get a little bit of everything from the ancient archaeology to the modern wildlife to the current culture, marketplaces, people, food.
Yeah.
And also you're supporting the local economy by staying in local ecological boutique hotels or pensions.
Yeah, we use boutique hotels, fantastic boutique hotels. We use sometimes hotels that are quite a little bit large for us.
And these groups that you meet and the places that you're staying are helping the local communities. Some of the tourist dollars go back into the schools or go back into community programs and bringing in solar power.
Absolutely correct. Well, most of our groups become donors sometimes or sponsors of in the villages. We have access to meet the leader of the Mayan communities. And some of them are pushing forward for bringing in their villages health and education, So some of our clients that are friends for us, they have found out that, there's a certain amount of money to be collected to finish the school. So they write a check and they give it to the community. So we are actually not receiving the money, but doing the connections between our Mayan friends and the visitors. Facilitators for the development, but also for the experience of these people to feel good about helping and doing great things for people in this planet.
So you work with other nonprofit organizations
Yes.
and the communities, and that's what responsible tourism is all about, and true ecotourism, not just taking a trip and exploiting the local places that one goes.
Yes, that's why we keep our groups small. We like travelers more than tourists. The difference is between travelers who are willing to discover and travel a little more and go further and learn. And when they learn, they get, amazed by the beauty of the culture and nature of this country.
There's so many discoveries. There's so many wonderful places that you can point out and describe. Pick one of your favorite archaeological sites and tell us more about it.
All right, one of my favorite sites, the area of my expertise is the pre-classic period, the formative period of the Maya, the very early beginning. So that's in the Pacific coast. There's a site which is called Takalik Abaj. That site, the beauty of it is that it blends many ancient civilizations together, like the Izapans, the Olmecs, and the Maya.
And those were two civilizations before the Mayan.
Before
like
the
Olmec.
Maya, exactly. The Olmec and the Izapans influenced a lot the Maya civilization of the classic period. But this site that you asked me about, my favorite, probably this is one of them, because it's not only the beautiful Piedmont area in where it's established, but also the array and the extent of the art, motifs and designs and ways of these different cultures living at one moment in the same place. It is fantastic.
Back in 2012, we heard a lot about the Mayan calendar ending, but yet some people said it was the end of the world, but yet the Mayan really just considered it the end of one cycle and the beginning of another.
Exactly. That's as nice but as simple as that, you know? Yeah, the Mayas never did calculations on prophecies or, astrology. They were great observers of the heavens. They understood nature pretty well. They were great mathematicians, physicians, physics. They understood physics. So that's what it's all about. We just started the journey. We have, from all the glyphic inscriptions they left that for us nowadays, we can read actually accurate 60% probably. Probably we can push it a little to 75%, but there's still mystery. And from that mystery, people create tales, okay? But what you said is correct. It's more marketing than reality.
And the archaeology has a lot of mysteries that scientists and researchers are trying to understand and get a better comprehension of the ancient civilizations. And at the same time, biologists, botanists are going into the jungle and discovering many new plants and animals. They really haven't all been identified, have they?
Yes, and that's the beauty of nowadays archaeology. Now we can assure that archaeology transforms mystery into history, because we're working not only with pick and shovel, but using multidisciplinary teams of specialists, like agrobotanists, bone pathologists, engineers, agricultural experts. So a lot of scientists in one same project brings to light the ancient past of these cities.
And if I'm going to see all the different ecosystems and as much wildlife as I can, I better plan a few days.
You better plan a few days. I will suggest, if you will like to go to Guatemala, plan 12 days, okay? Day of arrival, 1, day of departure, 12. You will have 10 days to explore and get inspired and marveled by everything that this country has to offer.
And you can take me on hikes into the jungle, along the rivers, up the mountains.
Yes, we can do hiking, trekking, camping, horseback riding, exploration, bird watching, surf, cave exploring, white river rafting, diving. I mean, you name it. We have a lot of, and we can cater to your special interest. If you're joining in on our scheduled dates, you can design a trip for yourself with our expert team.
What do you want Americans to know about Guatemala? What image do you want to leave with us?
We love for you to have the spirit to venture into this country, which is nothing about will, heart, beauty, and that we're pushing for the future. I mean, the past, as I said, our 36 years of war are over. Guatemalans are looking forward, and probably our next revolution will happen, but it's with books and pencils.
Guatemala is in Mesoamerica, Central America. Why should one go there instead of Mexico's Yucatan or the Belize biosphere regions or any of the other surrounding countries?
Well, the thing is that, for example, Mexico has become a superstar in the last 50 years in places for tourism. Guatemala is a jewel, okay? It's raw still. It is unique in a 150%. So you will find an opportunity for cultural tourism to be the motto of your trip. You will find culture by the ton.
I'm so excited to hear about all the places to visit and all the people to meet. I look forward to joining your tour. Thank you so very much for giving us a bit of your love of your country. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you. It was so great to meet you, Nancy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Let's meet again in Guatemala.
I'll see you there. The jungle awaits.
I have been speaking with Jose Antonio Gonzalez, who is a guide and cultural interpreter with Bella Guatemala Travel. I'm Nancy Perlman. Thank you very much for joining us, and do tune in again next week.
If you would like free information about these environmental issues, go to www.ecoprojects.org or call 310-559-9160. Environmental Directions with your host, Nancy Perlman, is a community affairs program of the nonprofit organization Educational Communications and this station.